Seasons, greetings, and happy holidays. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench, guys, for the finale of our 12 Sprues of Kit-mas holiday build series. That's right, guys, we are moving on to build day number 12. Today, we're going to end off season 5. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to be building. We'll grab that box, punch on through, check it out. So far, this season has been a lot of fun. We've done a couple of firsts. We've got some tanks in the mix. We've got a helicopter in the mix. So we've been having a ton of fun. Definitely a year of firsts for me here for 12 Sprues. Let's go ahead, though, and punch on through that last day and see what the girlfriends lined up for us for the finale. Reach around in there, grab that label, go ahead and pull that one out. We've had some hard kits, some easy kits, and everything in between. So let's see what we're going to be building here for build day number 12. Pull off that tape, put that aside. It is, oh, very cool. We've got the Bandai Razor Crest from the vehicle set. Perfect. This is going to be a really nice ending here for the entire 12 Sprues because this is a Bandai kit. And if you built Bandai kits, you know this is going to be a super fun and very easy build. So let's go ahead and check out the parts. We've got, of course, the instructions on the underside of the box top lid. They don't look that difficult at all. We only have a couple of sprues, and then we have some stickers in there. So this should not be difficult at all. The parts themselves are very much Bandai, super detailed. They are tiny, yes, but again, tons and tons of detail. I don't know how Bandai does it, to be honest. They're always very clever with their seams and all of that. So this should go together extremely well. It is snap tight, so that's going to make things a little easier. We do have a stand, but it's kind of lackluster here. So I don't know, guys. I might want to go ahead and change this around a little bit. Maybe do something a bit different, though. We'll see what I come up with. We don't have decals in this kit, though. We just have these stickers. I've never used these before, but I'm going to give them a shot. So let's go ahead and jump in here. We've got our instructions here. We're going to build up the entire Razor Crest, and we'll see how it looks, how it goes together. This should go together beautifully. Let's see how she builds. Well, that was fast. I gotta tell you, that went together in record time. I have no idea how Bandai does it, but every part just dropped right into place. No seam lines, hardly any marks at all from even cutting off the sprue. Super, super fast. Only took about 20 minutes on the bench and we are finished with the basic assembly. So that's it. We are done building it, right? So I could say 12 Sprues done. Thanks so much for joining me, but we're not gonna do that. We're going to go ahead and make our lives a little bit more complicated. We're going to have a little bit more fun. So what we're going to go ahead and try to do here, guys, is I want to install some LEDs into the Razor Crest. And to do that, I've actually got a couple of these 3mm flickering yellow LEDs. I'm going to go ahead and wire up to a 47 ohm resistor. We're going to drop those into the engine pods and then run the wires through the little wings down into the hole and then eventually down into my base. And I've got my base already in mind, so we'll go ahead and touch on that in a little bit. But first I want to go ahead and check out the LEDs because I've never used these before and they're supposed to be similar to a candle. So we're going to go ahead and see how they look. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-tin the LED leads just to make sure I've got a little bit of solder on each of these legs. Then I want to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the resistor. We're going to run a 47 ohm resistor. I think that's going to be perfectly fine for my 3-volt battery pack. So let's go ahead and just kind of pre-tin everything up and then we're going to attach it together. Now that I got that all kind of tacked together, let's grab our battery pack. I won't be using this particular battery pack. I have a smaller coin cell battery pack that I'll be using instead that is also 3 volts, but this is just kind of here. I've got it sitting around. So let's go ahead and just kind of twist them together. You're not going to get a very good connection because nothing is soldered, but let's go ahead and double check this. A little bit of a connection, move it around a bit, and all right. So yeah, we have a little bit of a flicker there. That's pretty cool. These do work and they work with the 47 ohm resistor. So I think now all we have to do is figure out how to get these into the model. Now, the nice thing about Bandai kits is that they are snap tight. So we can just take apart the model. We don't have to worry about it. We didn't glue anything. No real need to do that. So we're just going to take it apart and then we can go ahead and get an idea for wire pathing. Like I said, I think there is enough room right here in the center of each of these engine caps to go ahead and poke a 3mm hole right through and then insert that LED so that it sits flush with the inside of the engine cone. So let's go ahead and drill out that hole and we'll be back and I'll check it out. and just a real quick 3mm drill bit right through there, and we were able to get this to work. The LED just sit right in there perfectly fine. We have to shorten down the leads a little bit to make sure it can kind of plug into the back of the engine pod itself. But yeah, I think we're onto something here, guys. I think this will work. So all I have to figure out now is how to get the wires from this LED down into the hole. This is a small kit, but again, it's Bandai. So with a little trial and error, we should be able to get this to work. So my first thought here is take a drill bit and drill through the center section here on the lower portion of the upper wing. We're going to poke a hole through this, and that's going to bring our wire pathing into the main body. Then all we have to do is open up a hole in the center, and we can go ahead and use the existing hole that we have for the kit stand, just drill it out, and we can put in our own piping, and then eventually battery pack. We're going to do a little bit more drilling, a little bit more cleanup, but all we have to really do is make sure we can get enough of the wire and the resistor and all that good stuff, not to pinch on any openings, not to get stuck between parts and sever the wire. We should be able to do that just fine. Again, this is a small kit, but if you open up enough of the area, clean out some of these other structural detailings on the inside, we should be able to get everything where it needs to go. Now for the LEDs, I'm going to be using magnet wire. Not only is that very, very tiny wire, it's also enameled, so I don't have to worry too much about wires touching each other. Now I've used magnet wire before on the Shenzhou and other little builds I've done here and there. It works beautifully well. It's enameled, so you don't have to worry about encasing the entire wire. We don't have to worry about having larger ribbon cables in there, and this is a very small model with really tight tolerances, so using magnet wire should be perfectly fine for this particular application. I'm just going to solder it all up and we're going to test it out, and this is how the LED looks when it's fully powered. And yeah, you can kind of see it pulsates a little bit, flickers a little bit. That's going to be super cool. That's the effect I'm going for. It's very similar to when Din Djarin was taking his wounded Razor Crest back to one of the other ports. It had that damaged, kind of flickering, pulsating engine look to it. That's what I'm going for here, and I think this is going to achieve that effect nicely. All right, so we know it works. Now all we have to do is get everything tacked into the model. Now for the base, we're going to be using something similar to my Mega Man X build I did a little while ago. We're going to be using the bottom part of my shaving cream jar. We're just going to go ahead and cut that down to size. We're going to trim it up. We're going to clean it off. We're going to go ahead and remove that upper lip so it's nice and flush on the top. And we're going to use that as the stand, which will hold the battery pack, and also we can do something fun with it. Maybe do some stenciling, paint it up, do something neat with it. So that is the plan. This is something that I've used again in the past, and this is really hard plastic, very durable, but we will have to go ahead and kind of shorten it down a little bit and clean it up so we don't have any ridges and the top is absolutely smooth. Plus we'll have to drill a hole right through the center of that, and then we can put in a pipe and we can drop in our wires. So I think we are in good hands. Let's go ahead and jump in there, guys. We need to finish off the LED fitting, get everything installed, and then we need to start working on that base. Do a little bit of sanding, a little bit of priming. We're going to cut off all the threads with a razor saw, and then we can come on back. We can start doing some priming on the Razor Crest itself, do a little bit of Mr. Surfacer, follow it up with all-clad black basing, and then hit it with a nice REF Speed Silver. I think it's going to be a good color for this. Then we just hit it with the gloss coat. We'll be back and I'll show you guys what we come up with. Let's keep it going. All right, everybody, we are back and we are moving on here. The base is nicely painted and we've got a coat of Future on there, so that's ready to go. And we've got our Razor Crest painted up with some REF Speed Silver, also gloss coated, and we can move on to the next stage, which is working on that base. Now for the base, I want to go ahead and personalize it just a little bit, add in some extra little details. And so what we're going to do is I went online and I found a couple of really cool images from The Mandalorian, and I docked them up there in Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and put some stencils here and do a little bit of careful painting. I went ahead and marked this out on my Cricut cutter, so now all we have to do is remove it from the backing and we can get ourselves a nice little mask. And also we'll wind up with a sticker as well, which is kind of cool. So first things first, we've got our first image right here, and we're going to go ahead and remove the outer layer, leaving the inner layer alone. We don't need that. We need the reverse mask of the image. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it off here, and it's kind of tricky to start peeling them apart, but once you get them going, it'll be just fine. So let's go ahead and just start it here on the corner, and we're just going to start backing it off. I'm being very careful here. I don't want to misshapen it or distort the vinyl. If you're a fan of The Mandalorian, you're going to pick this out real fast. And if you don't know what it is the Mudhorn symbol of Din Djarin. So that's pretty cool. Found it online, and we've got the image right here. So let's go ahead and stick it down onto the top of the base. I'm going to try to center it as best as I can to get this looking kind of like it's supposed to be this way. So let's go ahead and stick it down right about here. That'll work. And we'll start up at the top here, smooth it down a little bit, and let's use our X-Acto knife. And we're just going to go ahead and pick up this one little detailed area. And we'll go ahead and get this nice and stuck down. There we go. Give it a little bit of pressure. Don't need too much pressure, but just a little bit to keep it down. And as you can see, we need one more piece. That is the eye sockets. Let's go ahead and remove that off of the actual image itself. That's where vinyl cutting can get a little bit tricky because you have to remove certain things, and well, it can get a little bit confusing if you have a lot of them to do. But let's go ahead and pull off this part right here. Just use my tweezers, that should be fine. And we'll go ahead and line it up about where it should go, and it looks about right. All right, let's get it there. And yeah, you'll see that we've got a reversed image of the Mudhorn right there, and we've got even a little sticker too, which we can put on a water bottle or something. So yeah, score. So 2 for the price of 1. One more stencil to apply, and that's going to be for some lettering around the outer perimeter. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of the vinyl mask, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the base itself. Though this time around, I'm going to be doing something a little different because there's a lot of little parts and pieces to this vinyl mask. So I want to go ahead and apply it as one unit. So in that case, I'm going to be using some transfer tape. Now, transfer tape is a little interesting in the fact that it doesn't always work as well as you'd think it would. Sometimes it takes a lot of pressure to burnish it down just so that the vinyl can actually stick to the tape itself. It's a little tedious sometimes, but I'm going to use the back end of my tweezers, really burnish it down, make sure that everything is nicely adhered to that transfer tape, and then we can go ahead and peel off the backing and apply it down to the base. Again, this is one of those instances where you have to be real careful when you go ahead and pull off the backing. You don't want to pull up or distort any of the actual vinyl masks themselves. So I'm going to be real careful here. I'm just going to lift up the very corner of this and work my way down slowly to the end of it. We'll just remove that, and then we'll go ahead and stick it down to the edge perimeter of this base. This is going to be a little tricky because I want to kind of line it up just a little bit to make sure it looks good on the actual model. And once I get it kind of in a position, I'll tamp it down a little bit there, and then we can remove the transfer tape. And then, yeah, we're going to be rolling, guys. So let's go ahead and jump back into our time lapse. We're going to go ahead and start doing some mask here. We're going to remove all of these, get everything painted up. Want to add in the stickers on the Razor Crest, do some weathering, and then overcoat everything. Get that final wiring all put together, and we'll be back, and I'll show you guys our finished Razor Crest. One more time lapse, guys, and we are all finished up. with that, guys, we are back and we have finished off day number 12 for the 5th annual 12 Sprues of Kit-mas holiday build series. And what a great model this was too. So much fun. Let me go ahead and grab the model kit and I'll show you guys our finished product. And here it is. This is a Bandai vehicle set Razor Crest. It's a little bit on the smaller side, I know, but it's got a ton of detail. I've even attached it there to our base. This was a fantastic little project. Again, another first for me. I've never built the sci-fi kit here on 12 Sprues, and I've never actually put LEDs or made a base here on 12 Sprues either. It's nothing too fancy. It's very simple, very clean. Got a chance to use my Cricut cutter as well, and that's always a good time when I get the chance to use that machine. So what a way to end the series for sure. I'm gonna get you a close up here and you can see some of the details. The base itself is overcoated with a flat black. I've got that mud horn, and then this is the way right there painted with duraluminum. I also did a little bit of post shading with jet exhaust. The Razor Crest itself is painted with REF high-speed silver. I did use the stickers, of course, that come with the kit. They're actually very, very nice. They're a little bit thicker than a decal, naturally, so they're not perfect, but they worked okay. If you burnish them down a little bit with a toothpick or something, you can get them to conform over raised details. On the undersurface, we've got that battery pack. It's a coin cell 3-volt battery pack tied into the wires. It does have a built-in switch. I did that on purpose so I wouldn't have any switch hanging off the base to ruin the aesthetics and the lines. Go ahead and switch that on. You can see powers up those LEDs, which flicker and pulsate a little bit, just like that episode in The Mandalorian. I think it's a nice addition, and I absolutely love the effect. So very happy with how this turned out. The kit and the base, all that, such a fun build. But with that, guys, we are all finished up with day 12, and that goes ahead and puts an end to the 5th season of the 12 Sprues of Kit-mas. We did a lot of models here, tried some new things, did some tanks, we've got a helicopter in the mix, did some sci-fi, got a chance to work with LEDs. So I want to give a big shout out to everybody who watched the series. Thank you so much. Of course, huge shout out to Robert for sending me a lot of the kits that made their way into the 12 Sprues for season 5. And of course, big shout out to my girlfriend for putting them in such an awesome order, capping it off with the Razor Crest. I had so much fun with this model kit. We'll see you back here on our year-end recap video for 2023. So until then, you guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday season. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.